Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rise and Grind. I'm 72 the Architect, aka Jason B. And today we're going to talk about where do you start with integrity? And that's what we're going to the topic of the day. And we're also going to be talking about a fitness challenge that I'm going to be involved with and that you can sign up to. So stay tuned here in just a moment, just before we get started. All right. All right, everybody. How you all doing this morning? It's Saturday. It's been a little bit since I actually been producing live in the studio, and I needed to take some time out, and I really needed to work on the best part of 2023, the present, the day. And there were some words that really stuck out in my mind, and I really wanted to work on the best part of me. Now, last year, starting October 29th, I started a fitness challenge with a colleague and friend of mine, and her name is Barbara Majeski, and she's a personality who's been on NBC, Fox. She does the do-it-yourself, all that great stuff, and she started a program that really, really impressed me in so many ways. Hey, Barbara, how good to see you. I'm actually, matter of fact, I'll send you a link if you want to join. But ladies and gentlemen, so let's talk about integrity and why integrity needs to be built. Integrity defined has two distinct definitions: the quality of being honest and having a strong moral principle, or mental or moral uprightness, right? But it's the state of being whole and undivided. And in a world where there's plenty of things that are constantly projecting us of what should I do? How do I align with people? I don't want to seem like I don't know something. I want to be a part and increase my value. But part of that value really begins where you start your day, how you start your physical activity, or are you really starting on your mental activity? Have you rolled out of bed and had it rolled through the whatchamacallit, rolled through um the routine? I got to get the kids up. I've got to get so many things going, right? And you're just like, well, how do I get this going? You know, who do I pay attention to first? Me? Let me start the coffee. Let me do all these things. And before you know it, the kids are out to school. You're off to the office. You're doing your day and just getting started in the day, which is huge, huge. Because are you meeting with a boss, a board? Do you have a deadline? Everything's coming at you so fast, and you're serving so many different purposes. But when we look at integrity, the sense of being whole, the person, the everything, right? And let me tell you, it does become overwhelming. And where do we stand our ground? How do we be our best selves? How do we show up and show out constantly without compromising who we are? That's really what the premise of this show. And let me just take a brief break. Hey, Barbara, I just sent you a link in WhatsApp, I believe. So let me see if I can resend that link. Give me just a second. But anyhow, while I'm doing that, let me tell you, it is, I've been thinking about this. And last year, I reached a crescendo of stress. I wanted to start, my health sucked. I was 230 pounds when I started. And I came across Barbara by chance in Clubhouse. And she was talking on one of these brand new stages that I really hadn't been too familiar with. I think it was called Breakfast of Champions. And something gravitated towards me, and she offered, hey, are you guys tired of being heavy during the holidays? And I'm like looking at myself like, whoa, yeah, not happening, not happy, right? And the more that I looked at it, I was just like, God, where do I begin? So I began to lying to myself. I lied to my better half and my spouse. I was lying to my kids. I was having constant issues. Work wasn't going well. People are questioning me about, how I was doing. You know, the stress was just, coming out in so many different places. But I was like, but the word integrity back then was kind of in my, it was just beckoning at my door, the back of my mind. And she offered a holiday challenge, like, hey, get to the better shape of you. I think it was like what, 6 weeks, something like that, 7 weeks. And while that whole process was going on, I was just like, man, I do need to get to the gym. The rolls, the everything, the chuckles, um, all that stuff, right? It was just becoming overwhelming. And the more that I looked at myself, I was not happy. And I was like, how can I get to the best sense of myself with all these motivational speakers, right? How could I do all this? I read plenty of the books, Chicken Soup for the Soul, uh, what else? I would listen to Success Principles. I listen to Eric Thomas. I listen to all these people, and all that was going on in my mind was constant just stress. Where to start? Get organized. So give me just a second, and on and on and on, right? And the more that I looked at it, I was like, I'm getting nowhere. I'm actually getting nowhere, right? And I wanted to get somewhere. That was the key. I wanted to be my best self. So I made a decision. She offered the challenge. I paid the whatever the fee was at the time, and which is offered in the descriptions of the show. There's a personal link. We have a brand new challenge that I'm going to talk about in just shortly in a little bit. And that's the thing. I was, hold on, I'm trying to send this link real quick. Paste. Okay. All right, Barbara, if you're still watching, the link's sent to you. You can copy and paste and send it, and it's going to invite you right in. Anyway, so the more that I got into it, and I was feeling good about this person, and then there was people also in the same mindset. And all I could think was, I got to do something. I got it. Yeah. Also, you can use the link, Barbara, on your phone if you have to. Either way, it works. And it's Restream. So, anyways, I got started, and this is a part of my living testimony. I got started day one, October 29th. I signed up digitally on In Shape Health Clubs in Stockton, California. I was so pumped. I was so like excited. And all I could do was, I'm like, I'm going to go for it. Start today. I walk in the gym. I see all these hardworking people, pumping iron, spinning, running, swimming. And just previous that year, I had quit the gym. I had a membership for 2 years, and it definitely changed. I'm gonna bring my good friend and colleague, Barbara Majeski. Good morning, Barbara. How you doing?
Good morning.
And
Hello. Oh, I love that you use Restream. You use Restream over StreamYard.
yes, it's much clearer, much easier for the user. Just a little tip, about Restream. I tried StreamYard. It's pricier, and the quality of the image is down. This is full 1080 versus 720. So the clarity you see, all my YouTubers. So let's give a little bit of background. Barbara has had an amazing journey. She is a wonderful, not just mom, she's a thought leader. She's also been on Fox. She's been on NBC, ABC as well, on different segments. She has a big reputation and accomplished so much physically, mentally, and spiritually. And when I came across her, it was one of those great experiences that I was just like, you just know when somebody is bringing something good, and you got to join. And I joined the fitness, and I didn't know like I was saying, I didn't know what I was doing. So, Barbara, we have a brand new fitness challenge that is
Mhm.
open to anyone if you're willing to commit. And
Yeah.
would you like to share a little bit about the fitness challenge?
And Jason, thanks for including me in on your podcast. And I love getting to know new audiences and new listeners. I launched the workout challenge because I got so tired of people investing in the wrong things to not get the results that they bought the things for. Everyone's willing to buy the Pelotons, the memberships, the Weight Watchers apps, buy the books, but the truth is, information does not lead to transformation.
Mhm.
Action does. And I've seen so many people just dusty Pelotons, memberships just on autopilot. You realize 80% of gym memberships are not even used? But it's not that we all want to feel good. We want to feel good. We want to look good. We want to fit in our clothes. But there is a big gap in what we're being messaged as in society. We're being messaged buy the items and get the results. And that's not true. If you want to buy anything right now, you want to buy anything right now, you have to buy action because action and habits equal results. And that's the gap that I'm looking to fill. I'm like, everything in my programs are all action based, accountability based. Of like, you, if you want this outcome, if I'm going to tell you by the time summer rolls around or the new year rolls around, you're going to be in great shape. I feel a sense of like personal obligation of like, oh no, I'm not selling you anything. You're gonna do, yeah. We're gonna do the things to get the things.
Mhm.
So that was really the impetus. I just think people are buying things to get the things, and what they need to purchase is accountability and action and habits and behaviors, because that's what's going to give you the outcome. Can't buy a book on how to make a baby and expect to get pregnant.
Right. And just real quickly, here is the link. The link is in the show right now. And if you go to this link, the More Life Collective, Barbara started, and I've been a part of it. I'm an ambassador. I'm not just selling you something, I'm inviting you to be a part of something. And I think that was the one thing the challenge brought when you're a part of like the Facebook group. We really I didn't know all these people. They didn't know me. And Clubhouse is a weird spectrum of people. You never know who you're gonna meet. It could be a celebrity, it could be an average Joe. It could be, someone who's a producer, a writer, a doctor, a lawyer. And I was just having all these issues, personal issues. And so for me, I said, enough is enough. I'm stopping with the bullshit. Excuse my language. I'm quitting with the excuses.
Mhm.
I need to start somewhere and I need to build this integrity person. And I'm still going through this process. But the fitness challenge, like the link that you see in the show right now, and then also be described if you're watching this recorded, you can join this. We start March 1st. So time is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. It's ticking.
And
But
let me say this, Jason. It's at a discount, an epic discount for all members. So it is a well-priced program. Right now, if you're in the membership, instead of paying close to $500, you're paying $197. That's number one. But
mm,
the day it starts, March 1st, that price goes up because we start together and we finish together. That's what makes this collective so strong are the people that are in it. And we need to start together. So, anybody that's listening, I really wouldn't hesitate. I would do this. It will be the best money you spend this year. It'll be the best money because when you exercise and you start getting that oxygen into your brain, along with endorphins and dopamine, you start thinking better. When you start thinking better and you're clearer, you're more confident, you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, you have better outcomes. Like your life is predicated on a series of decisions that you make. And when you make the better decisions because your thoughts are clearer, your intentions are stronger, your vision for your life is more codified, it just cascades to all areas of your life. So I can't help but be like, this is not something to hesitate on. I'm a little Tina Fey, a little David Goggins. I'm like,
and I'm glad you mentioned just even David Goggins, because I just finished listening to an interview with Lewis Howes and him. And he just said, and he was talking about he was like 300 pounds
yeah.
and he wanted to become a Navy SEAL and he was in the Air Force. Like, how do you become almost 300 pounds being in the military? And he was like killing bugs. And he said, I just had to put down the excuse and I just had to get to work.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
think that's one thing about when you're part of a fitness group of mind of people. Throughout the challenge and the holiday challenge, what we did, we had to post a picture of your exercise or your Apple Watch, whatever your activity meter. You had to do something. It could be a walk, it could be in the gym, it could be on your Peloton. But like you said, Barbara, you raised a couple of key points. How much money do we spend wasted away on a shelf or a
On
part of
things.
something?
Mhm. On items.
Hundreds of millions of dollars are
Eh,
blown.
I billions of dollars are completely blown on buying items, buying the things. You know what you want, but it's that the mix is the consistency. And the reason I'm so passionate about the More Life Collective is I do not focus on motivation, on inspiration. I focus on consistency. I do. It is an inspiring group. It is a motivating group, but the weight is not on motivation and inspiration. That's like a little the pinch of salt that goes into the baking that really solidifies a really good meal.
Mhm.
But what you really need is the flour and the eggs, and the baking soda. And these are habits and consistency and showing up. They're not the sprinkles and the chocolate chips that are, the little extras. But the real grit is showing up, doing the things. And that's what I'm so passionate about. And my ambassadors, first of all, you qualified to be an ambassador because you showed up and you did the work.
It was hard every day. Let me tell you, there were days I wanted to be lazy. I was sick
Yeah.
a couple of days, and
Mhm.
I'm like, and I think Rebecca saw me like I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning one time, and I'm going to the gym at 10:30 at night when I usually go to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
and it was like it wasn't a pressure, but it was like I don't want to let myself down. If I
Yeah.
made the command and agreement, I am building this guy from ground up who
Mhm.
I was not proud of.
Mhm.
And when you build your integrity, that wholeness, that it's huge. And when you start moving from day one, from October 29th, you were on day one, what is it, November 1, and everyone's like, oh, I'm so excited. And I'm like, I'm already going because I wanted to get going because I didn't know what this was. I didn't know what's this group.
Yeah. Intimidating. You're like, I wonder if I can do this. Yeah.
And for a guy, you don't wanna seem like, "Oh, man, I got this, whatever. I can go to the gym." I honestly, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start, so I just said, "Get on the bike, 30 minutes, start pedaling. No
Mhm.
excuses."
Jason, I think what is so powerful, what you just said, is that when you went for your workout at 10 o'clock at night, which you could have easily just hopped on Clubhouse or turned on, a Netflix show, what you're saying to your subconscious mind is more powerful than your body will ever show. And what you are telling and reinforcing to yourself is that I am a person of my word. I am a person of high integrity, and I do what I say I'm going to do. And the power of this collective is that kind of sense of like, I said I was going to do this, and I have to show up in the and post, which by the way takes like 8 seconds for people to do. But success lies in the details. And as much as people want to be like, oh, I've got this, I'm not posting anymore. There we are in the group being like, this is a non-negotiable. This is a non-negotiable for 90 days. And when you do that, the message that it transmits to the cells in your body, to your subconscious mind, start building and compounding in ways that are really indescribable. We have to rebuild our confidence in ourselves that we are people of integrity, we are people of our word, we are destined for greatness. And we're destined for greatness based on the habits that we solidify. So I think it's important that you said that, because we do, myself included, Jason. There are days I am so mad that I have launched this. I'm like, I don't feel like it. And there I am walking the damn dog again because I didn't hit my steps, or walking, airports or train stations, you know? So
Mhm.
I think what people need to hear is that you need to have a place to help rebuild sometimes for people their confidence in themselves. And that's what I hope that this provides for your team and other people. You're such a great example. How much weight did you lose in the program?
I lost a total of 30 pounds, but I gained 7 pounds back, and that's
But
because
you stopped.
I didn't stop totally, I just took out a couple of days. but I was dealing with more emotional things. And here's the key. It's the emotional little voices. The little voice will come up and say,
Come on, you can just stay in the bed. It's okay. Stay there. Are you safe? We're very safe.
and then my bad boy in me is like,
Get out of bed, damn it. Stop making your excuses.
you know, and it's like, which is where's the courage? And where's the courage in you? That's
But that's
really
human. You know, that's the cool part that you're sharing is such part of the human experience, that other people can relate to. But the more you listen to the good and learn how to tune out the bad, the ones that are lazy, you know, the more fortified you become. The more fortified you become, the better example that you are for other people. And that's why the ambassador program to me is going to be really the, I don't know, what do you call it? I got to find the right word, but the amplifier for so many more people, because I know there's men that connect with everything that you're saying. They're getting the dad bods. They're not feeling great about themselves. When men don't feel good about themselves, let me tell you something, Jason, they take it out in all the wrong places.
their
They take
loved
it out on
ones,
their spouses, their
work.
kids, and their work. And then they're like, you can't, it's almost like this snowball when men feel good about themselves, it's immeasurable the mountains that they can move. Relationships are stronger. Businesses are fortified. Like, I don't mean to make this about men, but I do feel that a man with a strong core, and I'm not talking physical, a man strong in his core, in his inside, is the most powerful being on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they make their women feel great. And it's like this synergy that is almost indescribable. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Because what happens to you happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
When you're around people so much, you start adapting their energy. It's a magnetism. I don't know
Yes.
how to describe it. I'm not a guru, but you both, when one's depressed, if they're not going up, and me and my lady were just talking about this. She's like, look, I want you to go up, Jason. I know you've battled with your integrity. I know you battled with your honesty and being accepting about you, and years of like not having my needs met, not respecting myself,
Mm-hmm.
giving away too much of me. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was like, enough is enough, and a lot of hard things, I had to just look in the mirror. This imposter had to say, you know what? It's time for you to sit down. And this is what the thing with the challenge, it's going to be up to you of how you're going to apply yourself. You may not know what you're doing, but there are people that do. And
Mm-hmm.
there are people that will say, I've been where you're at. You've been through some pretty hard stuff, a divorce, cancer. I remember hearing your story about cancer. I remember hearing your stuff about, these internal things and abundance, the wealth that we many of us preach about, talk about. We buy so many motivational books. We go to
Yeah.
conferences, all these things. It gets hyped up and you get that Tony Robbins effect. And it's like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. But what about when it wears off?
Yeah. Yes. So, Jason, so much to unpack here. So much to unpack. We should probably do like a weekly thingy.
We can.
Number one, that is my biggest pet peeve right now, is that inspiration doesn't lead to transformation. It's
Mhm.
not. It is not. Just being inspired alone is not enough. And if we only act when we're inspired, we are never going to meet our goals, because our goals don't care how we feel. But
Nope.
let's go back to a man at his core, feeling grounded and confident and comfortable in their skin. I think they're Herculean in their being, which is what
Mhm.
men are supposed to be. They're supposed to be Herculean and be caretakers and be to me, I think there's the feminine and the masculine, and we complement each other. No one is better or worse, but there's some masculine traits that we as women benefit from when our man is grounded. Now, you talked about respect. And one of the things that is so important that I talk about in the More Life Collective, that is one of my cornerstones of conversation, is you teach people how to treat you. And if you don't respect yourself and you don't have non-negotiables, so I talk, right? If you don't have
Mhm.
non-negotiables and pillars that you withhold because you let everyone else take, you slowly erode at your core. And what happens when a man's core is eroded, they lack confidence, they lack focus, they lack self-esteem. And when men are lacking and they are not fortified in their core, it bleeds out into every part of their body.
And
And
this also works for women too, because I've seen women just
yes.
fall apart. It's both of us, but I mean, speaking towards men specifically, you know, this is what we do, and I'm going to testify and be accountable to myself. You start lying about you and to you until where you get so expanded. Like,
Mhm.
I used to not show, like, as you can see me now, I'm narrower. I was wider. And one of the things throughout the challenge, and I dropped the paint, I had no weight in mind. I had no vanity point. I did not like showing my face. I did not like showing anything about me. I did not like even saying my name. But several things have happened since October 29th. I'm now able to speak my name confidently, tell people about me. And it's not about my profession, it's more about how I show up to people. And I started noticing the integrity starts to come with it. And that little, you know, insecure imposter, he's sitting down because he doesn't have his voice is not strong enough. But if you don't work on that discipline every day, the
Mhm.
exercise, getting into the mental work, exercise is
Mhm.
the biggest part of your morning.
Well, it's the catalyst for the mental
Mhm.
work. Do you understand when you start moving that body, getting oxygen, endorphins, dopamine into your brain, then your brain just has a certain clarity that you can't function at the highest expression of yourself without that kind of clarity. And the only reason why I had kind of I talk about men is that I feel that sometimes women think that they can fix when
We
their
can't.
guy is off kilter. And the truth is we need women to support men to get back on kilter by taking care of themselves, like getting that exercise, drinking the water, eating the good, fortifying their body with good nutrients, being around other good people. Like some women just get very
Mhm.
territorial. I want my guy around good people. Like go hang out with your friends. They make you happy. They make you, they make you laugh. Go to the gym.
Mhm.
There's so much in there. And my group is actually more women right now. I imagine it'll ultimately balance itself out because it's a collective and not it's not actually it is started by me, but driven by the community. It'll grow because the community will demand more from itself.
Right.
So even especially your experience, I hope you see yourself doing resets, little 14-day challenges that are more niched. So, because you can see the benefits, you get it. You're like, as soon as I start feeling better about myself, all of a sudden my relationship blossoms and it spills out your girlfriend, it's your girlfriend, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
okay. Everyone's using different words these days. And I'm like, I don't know what
My
to
my better half, my significant other, my queen, whatever you wanna call it,
queen.
that's what
Oh,
my
the queen. I'm here
she
for the
is,
queen.
because you know what? But you are king of your castle, and the way that you
Oh, you're
manage
queen.
your life, you're managing your reputation, you're representing so much
Yeah.
against the world that is telling you you're not good enough. Literally, the world will tell you you're and convince you overly that you are not good enough if you let it. It will tell you that. Look at what's going on in the news. People don't feel confident. They're questioning their identity. They're questioning their validity in, am I going to have a job? Do I know? But if you let that go and get to you and creep up on you, it's like a spider's web. You just get, I can't, I can't breathe.
Well, it does paralyze you.
Mhm.
It is a constrictor of epic proportions. But let me tell you what I learned by going through cancer, and almost not surviving. I really am very blessed to see my 50th trip around the sun in April. I learned that it may be the, the voices around us that say X, Y, and Z, but it's that voice in our head that is the most toxic. People can say all that they want, but it is our responsibility to filter out. And prior to being confronted with my own mortality at 42, I let the voices rule supreme in my head, the ones that told me I wasn't good enough, I wasn't tall enough, I wasn't short enough. And what I realized is that those weren't external voices anymore. Those were my voices, and those were the people in my head. They weren't the people out there telling me what I could and could not do. It was the person inside my head. And once I told that bitch to shut up and sit down, man, did my life change. It changed the trajectory of my life. But I don't think enough people have heard that of like, listen, somebody told me, with this More Life Collective that I'm launching, because I was like, listen, I want the barrier of entry so inexpensive that more people join. I want to impact hundreds of thousands of people. And this woman said to me, you need to make your membership $1,500 a month. I said, no. I said, I want to impact more people. And no. I said, no. She said, she goes, who do you think you are? And I was like, well, Gabby Bernstein has a membership at $20 a month. She can do it. She goes, you don't have as many followers as Gabby. You're not Gabby Bernstein. And I remember thinking, that is a voice outside my head that will never be welcome inside my head. And I thought to myself, I was like, this woman has no idea who I am. She has no idea what I am capable of. And I'm going to make sure that that voice stays in her head and not in mine. So I just think it's so important to recognize.
Yeah, and it's so huge. Like when you think about the investment, and I don't want to sound like pitchy, but check this out.
Yeah.
Imagine you spend $200, right? But you just spent $1,000 last year on a membership you never used. And why did you not use it? I'll testify to this. Because the little voice says, stay in bed. We've got so much more. We have to serve others. And if we never serve ourselves, you don't know how, where to start. That imposter comes out and he becomes the domineering God. Right? It becomes your belief system. And then when you go and shake up and you work out. So let's say I invest $200 for 3 months, right? Break that down. 90 days cost per day to be a part and around people that are saying, I don't have the full range of motion. Some people are 60, older, some people are disabled, some people, but I'm going to commit to this. I like being a part of a team. I like being a part of, I want to be around good people, because when you're sick inside of the BS, you're sick. Eventually you become like, wait a minute, I'm exercising 30 minutes. Guess what? My scrambled eggs of ideas, it needs to be served somewhere else, because now I'm more clear to focus.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
It's a natural progression. Well, I hope more people understand the value of what we're creating within the collective. I think the price point, because we had discussed it, allows people to make an investment without cheapening the brand. I think it's the best money you can spend on yourself. Is you're literally buying accountability, you're buying action, and you're doing the things, and you're in the right group. I am very confident with you as an ambassador. You can help transform people's lives. I mean, yes, everyone's going to look better by the time summer rolls around, but the way that you feel and the things that you're going to ultimately be able to dive into are
I think the looking part is it's just the cherry on the top. It's just,
then you start looking better,
little.
you start walking better, like you start
I think it was you who saw me. We were in Zoom and you're like, you look different. We were like in the first week of December. It was like a month me into it. And you said something to me and you're just like, look, something's coming out of you differently. And I'm glad to see the results, and I see your little videos. And so that's the other thing. And this is the one thing we were mentioning in Clubhouse yesterday. When it ends, people were upset.
I know. So they
They
wouldn't
were
let
mad. They were
Jason.
mad.
Wait, you weren't even in the 90-day. You were in the holiday. So the 90
Mhm,
day, which was last spring, which is launching March 1st,
mhm.
which runs longer. 90 days is like woo woo. When I tell you people would not stop in the group, I was like, the show is over. Everyone has to go home. Because I mean it. I think everything needs to have a beginning and ends, a season. Now I'm keeping the collective open to keep our community aligned, but maybe change the negotiables, the non-negotiables to shift a little bit, focus on business, or maybe even fuel our body, our fuel. I don't want to talk about food is fuel. But
Mhm.
Jason, Rebecca was like, nobody wants to leave the group. I'm like, I I we gotta regroup. We gotta come up with something. And again, that's why we're launching this collective, and you'll see it. We are going to grow the collective to over 100,000 members. It'll have a library of challenges and resets for people to take advantage of at any time, but it'll also have live
And they're
challenges.
real people.
Real
They're
people, real people, real time. No, like this is what we need. And by the way, those in-person retreats are going to be
Mhm.
bonkers. I'm going to lead and curate the first couple of them, but ultimately I'm going to pass the baton so we can have multiple retreats running simultaneously, all action based. Jason, everything is action based. You said it best in the beginning. Tony Robbins is going to get you fired up, but then you're like, you leave the auditorium or whatever, and truly nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't do the things, you're not going to get the things. And my action based retreats, yes, you
Mhm.
will sometimes be doing, listening maybe to speakers, but the rest of the time we're climbing the Himalayas, we're biking the
What do
island
you
of
think about
Croatia.
this, Barbara? I think
Mhm.
the great parts about your different segments, whether it be the fitness challenge or the 14-day reset, I think people needs a detachment to go continue the work when there's not a challenge, when there's not a segment to be a part
Well,
of.
that's why I have the collective, which is part, obviously the challenges within the collective, the resets are within the collective. I think that's going to be incumbent upon the ambassadors. I think the ambassadors are going to have an opportunity to keep their teams united and focused in their own privates, like in their own Zooms. And then when we launch the next challenge, and then you bring in more people into the next challenge. But this is where this is a collective, Jason, so that it can impact as many people as possible and help people achieve the health and wellness that they want.
Mm,
It'll come down to the ambassadors. And I think the ambassadors are going to see, wow, I'm going to keep my group together. We're going to expand our team. And we're going to get ready for our next challenge. But I do think there needs to be a beginning and an end to challenges.
right.
I also
You need growth in
You
sometime
need
believe
space. You need
you have
season.
to grow when you're not a part of the group because your biggest growth is in your own silence
Mhm,
when no one's watching. And I'll
mm,
tell you, like I was telling you yesterday, there's a few things that I'm going to be bringing, not just to my group, but the whole collective in the challenge. And I told people yesterday I would be bringing quotes
mhm.
and books and ideas. And I will be asking a question at least 3, 4 times a week, maybe more. I don't know, but I use books like, for example, The Daily Stoic. And this book, which is great, it's 1 page a day and there's a question. And the other day, just to really recap, and this is something that touches on your integrity and your happiness. Everyone wants happiness. They want, well, if I make more money, I'm going to be happy. No, your more money just makes you more accessible, And in the question the other day, just like I told her, I said, what happiness am I putting off that I could have right now? And the quote that goes for that is from Epictetus. He says, it's quite impossible to unite happiness with yearning for what we don't have. And happiness has all it wants, resembling the well-fed. There shouldn't be hunger or thirst. You can't get something okay. So I'm going to be clear. Your growing life coin, as I call it, I got it
Mhm.
from The Richest Man in Babylon. And that's a book I really wanted to talk to you about more than Think and Grow Rich. But what it says is, it takes a story about this guy who's richer than a king. And he said, and the king's like, how did you become so wealthy more than me? This guy's a threat, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I learned how to turn coin to work for me. And that means my investments, my health, my mentality, my discipline, my integrity, everything was cultivated over time, and my
Mhm.
patience over profits existed. And so what I'm trying to tell people is, your exercise, your involvement in this challenge can be the catalyst for you. To me, it's the next step for me. I'm leading, and I'm accountable to people. I haven't had a chance. I've been under the weather, but I can tell people, if you join the challenge, you hit that link. That is my link that leads you to the collective. It will lead you to several sources of Barbara's More Collective webpage. So there's a lot of things to join. She is going to be doing, like you said, resorts or retreats.
Retreats, yeah, at resorts for sure.
Yeah, resorts part of retreat, excuse me. But all I could say is that when you join, it's not gonna be a magic pill. You're gonna have to do the work, but doing
Sure.
ends up becoming believing. And I know maybe we might be short on time for you. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I
I'm
got
bringing
my
this.
kids you couldn't hear them playing in the basketball court.
I and that's the thing, is abundance shows when you put the work in and believing.
I it it it's so true. And everything we talk about in the collective is in alignment with that. Living an intentional life, getting clear, respecting yourself, setting non-negotiables that other people will learn to respect and hopefully emulate. So all of it is in the collective. It is coming together. And I think you'll like this. So I put this on the side of my plane. Look at that. The More Life Collective.
I like that. Visual aids become reality.
Yeah,
There
it's in your subconscious and in your mind long before it comes to fruition.
And
So
let's not forget about, okay, when you join the program, you get, I haven't used your water bottle yet.
oh my
You
God, people are obsessed with it.
they trip on
They
this,
are
and I'm like, "Oh,"
obsessed with it.
but you also
Obsessed.
get a journal. This is the next piece. This is what I'm bringing to the next collective. That red journal is for you to write your story. And when you start writing your story of going from agony, and you listed your woe is me, kind of like what you talked when you were trying to recover, not only from your divorce, but you didn't want to be around a bunch of, I hate to say it, but whiners.
I didn't want to be in a trauma zone. I wanted to be in a hope zone. Like,
Mhm.
and that's what led me to building all these things. You're so right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
So when you join these things, it's going to be, I didn't do as much journaling during the challenge last time, but I'm
yeah,
journaling every day now. And next Sunday I'll be going over a part of the process, typically around 7 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. Eastern. So you're more than welcome to join me anytime. But I am going to be promoting this not just up until March 1st, but this is a journey that people will see, and you can be a part of it or not. Maybe you're not ready right now, but you could be. If you're not ready now, you might find another day, but
you're ready.
find the invest in you better than a bank, because I'll tell you what, a bank doesn't give you interest.
Mhm.
Ask, how
Mhm.
much money do you make on percent interest just from having a checking account? It's not even 1%.
I know
Now
it's terrible.
imagine you invest in this, your mentality goes up, your body gets better, people start seeing you different, you start thinking different, you believe different, and guess what? All the weight, the dead weight of life, and including, you are going to shed people. You are going to shed people. I'll guarantee this. When you're on the right path, you're going to shed all the dead weight, dead flowers, and you're going to open up to brand new pastures and people. And Barbara, I just want to say thank you so much for coming up. I
Yes.
appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Jason. And I'll land with this on my More Life Collective plane. One of the five non-negotiables, there's five non-negotiables of the most successful, wealthy, healthy, and happy people on the planet is making investments. And they make investments in resources that are going to improve their health, wealth, and happiness. They invest in themselves. So you are saying all the right things. Making that investment to improve any station in life is a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable of the wealthiest, healthiest, and happiest. So Jason, thank you. I
Thank you
gotta
so
go,
much.
but I will see you and chat with you soon. Thanks again,
Next
Jason.
time we'll talk to you later. All
Yep,
right.
bye-bye.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye, Barb. And so, as I get ready to wrap up the show, what I can tell you, I have gone through mountains of personal challenges and still going through it now. And once a week when I come on and I do my Rise and Grind, my podcast, and I am going to be showing you the different progresses. But also part of Rise and Grind, I want to not only just I don't want to talk about just myself, honestly. I want you to be a part of this experience. I want us because you know what? I've been depressed for way too long. I've not had my needs met for way too long. I'm tired of being in the shadow and I'm just willing to do the work. And it's like even me and my lady were talking about this even last night. It was and I told her I had to like just bare bones some things, like just be honest and admit because you can't hide anymore. And whatever you're uncovering, you want to build this strong person. What's the vision of this person? I'll give you straight up the answers. Here's what I'm going to build. A guy I believe in, a father that my children trust, a speaker where it helps transforms people's lives, a professional that has a reputation, bar none, unarguable and non-negotiable. And that's my vision for myself. And however it takes, I'm going to be interviewing lots of people from here on out on Rise and Grind. People who are business leaders, people who don't lead in business, but are just great being the parent or life transforming. How do we get to that? Building integrity, where we start is how we start with action. Action, believe it or not, clears the slate enough. So then when the intelligence, the integrity comes into play, guess what? It starts becoming clear. The arguments, the beliefs, you don't have to be an overly consumer. You're a producer for your own best cause. And you can do that. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going through the challenges. I've been lucky enough to come across many different people. And it's an opportunity for you all to see. And like I said, I don't want to sound pitchy, but you know, just to go over integrity, it's no secret that life can be difficult, but it can be easy at times. It can become overwhelmed by pressures, work, regular life, family, all the roles that you play. When this happens, you know, what tempts you? Where do you want to start? Do you want to start all over again? Fortunately, there's a way in building yourself up and regaining your own integrity without having to start from scratch, you know, and we're here just to do that. And I'm thrilled to be able to discuss any of those ideas. So you can reach out to me. I know this is typically going longer than I normally do, but like I said, you can be a part. I want to thank Barbara for coming out. I am probably going to do a part 2 of this, but exercise, I don't care what it is. If you got to go walk, ride a bike, go to the gym. Maybe you have the gym equipment in your garage or your basement that's just collecting dust. Put it to use, but you're going to have to fight for this habit. I'll tell you right now, I had to fight to be active. I had to fight to be strong. And, um, that's just it. Building strength takes time, internally, physically, all that stuff. So you can do it. And I just want to say thank you all for those who are watching. Don't or feel free to leave comments, subscribe and like. I'd love to hear more from you all out there. It's just a great opportunity to be a part of something. And if you want to join the group, I'm going to be leading an exercise and talking to people, and it's just like getting unstuck is really what it comes down to, and feeling stronger and leading a life that you really want. And I'm right there with you. I don't have it all figured out, but one thing about leading, it takes on a bigger responsibility. But if you can turn it to where it's of value, and it's like, yeah, I'm leading people, it becomes much more enriching too, and validating for yourself that when you see people happy and growing, you're happy and growing too. Anyhow, that's all the time that I have for Rise and Grind with 72 the Architect. I hope you all have a great day. Y'all take care.